Jabra na wakasa ewo graduation Emma parade of officer cadets abra na womo omo graduation Ghana Armed Forces Academy say eno mampanyini echim
Ghana mampanyi owura John Dramani Mahama kasa de tudwa cement mu hwase a ainiti ewo tivido mantem krafa no bokumu no enya de twaye krokra seni abambofo bi ene mabudo de bo ani na okra ba ko ato dodo na nso eprepra no wakasa edieti a wose woni asante kotoko hene na se tutu ababio asinkonwa ene na nakasa na naso agya tumu se wotie ne na chi kakra obepie mu ewo ma Ghana mu obehwe hunu se woni ahemfo ne mpinfo wo boku bi die sia wasasa adwen se na ebe na mentem hwase obepa ne pomasi bre na asundwie etimafa ne ntuma pa ede afra.
The Ghana Armed Forces is engaged in several theaters to maintain peace and security in our nation. One major flashpoint continues to be the Bawku area. Only 2 days ago, an incident in a marketplace triggered an unfortunate loss of lives and criminal vandalism of property. I wish to emphasize that nobody gains from this situation of conflict and insecurity. We have triggered the Otumfo mediation process, which saw all stakeholders participate in discussions in Kumasi on a roadmap towards peace. I'm assured by the Asantehene that the process will resume next week when he returns from his brief visit abroad. Congratulations to our armed forces for the sacrifices you have made, even at the peril of your lives, to protect life and property in the Bawku conflict area. We need the cooperation of all to restore peace in Bawku and its environs. And I entreat all sides to embrace peace as we dialogue to resolve this age-old dispute. The distinguished guests, plans for the expansion of the Ghana Armed Forces to ensure increased capacity to counter both internal and external threats were initiated while I was in office in my previous term. During this period, we supervised the acquisition of air, land, and sea assets to equip the armed forces to fulfill their mandate of keeping our nation safe. We will resource the Ghana Armed Forces. This means better equipment, including more simulators, advanced training, and the ability to mobilize swiftly in times of need. You will be equipped to excel in your duties. We shall assess the retooling initiative and facilitate cost-effective outcomes to equip our army to the standards required for a 21st century defense force.
Na yademo eko edom kuma ewo mrashibidwam ene wama ensentrofo ichiemu ema ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament onomunyamfo Reverend Intim Fodwo Akasa opani li ato abanim se basabasa ntokwa ekoso Bawku no abanma no honye ha na onhwe emasundwe emra Bawku.
Party in Parliament is deeply concerned about the worsening security situation in Bawku, where persistent violence continues to endanger lives and displace residents. Over the past few months, the intensity and frequency of attacks, including sporadic shootings, arson, and home invasions, have escalated, with reports suggesting a high death toll, with many people said to be missing than those reported dead. The growing sophistication of weaponry used in these attacks is particularly alarming, raising questions about the sources of arms and the effectiveness of measures to curb their proliferation. Recent developments, including targeted bus attacks and the setting ablaze of the residence of the Honorable Mahama Ayariga, the majority leader, reflect the increasing volatility of the situation and the level of frustration among sections of the youth. The failure to de-escalate tensions leads to a cycle of reprisals, which, if unchecked, will further entrench insecurity in the area. As a strategic border town, Bawku's instability poses a wider national and regional security risk. The expansion of attacks to other regions, including the Northeast and Ahafo region, further underscores the urgent need for a more coordinated response. Beyond the immediate security concerns, The instability has devastated the affected communities. Schools have been forced to shut down, depriving children of their right to education, while key institutions and businesses are fleeing the area due to safety concerns. Critical sectors such as education and healthcare are severely impacted, with teachers, nurses, and other professionals refusing postings to Bawku for fear of their safety. The continued insecurity is gradually crippling essential services, worsening the plight of residents, and deepening the humanitarian crisis. It is evident that the current approach to addressing the conflict has not been sufficient to restore calm. The government must demonstrate greater urgency and decisiveness. The deteriorating situation in Bawku is a national concern, and the government must take immediate action to prevent further escalation. The people of Bawku deserve to live in peace and security, and we urge, as a minority caucus, urge the government to prioritize a sustainable resolution to the crisis before it spirals further out of control.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Ghana Mampenyi Sabri was say wenye GDA any anidaso pa se otumfo se tutu otoso mienu ede ne ho agye Bawku ho nsemu yi asomdwe ebeba Omampenyi ne echiremu se sa entokwai eye mampurusi ene kusasi ahemfo mienu entokwa atena wodedada efa nsase ho ewo mfie bebre enie Omampenyi no wakasa ewo Career Course 63 2025 graduation ceremony ewo military academy eho ena Omampenyi edi tu dwa se otumfo se tutu wura wawuremu anase wotu ne nan asiso se obehwe ama asomdwe aba no eye ne kwanso eye ne kwampa so na wone de ha ne pa ne se entokwai se de esi agini pankwa nesese niema nema eye sa ekromu anase mpesua so wonom ekechi no eyade ha adwene ede obre anase ede sikasam enho ha obre ena ebo manfo so nti asante hina ode ne ho agim no owani da so wo gidie pa se kom ye adwobre ene asomdwe ebeba ewo.
Let us support our security services and the Ghana Armed Forces with information that is useful and intelligence that is helpful, that will advance their work rather than retrogress it. Let me reiterate that we will take all allegations of crime seriously and trigger our security service investigative machinery to go after criminals no matter who they are. But let me state emphatically also that we do not have the resources and time to engage in any game of smoke and mirrors. The Ghana Armed Forces is engaged in several theaters to maintain peace and security in our nation. One major flashpoint continues to be the Bawku area. Only 2 days ago, an incident in a marketplace triggered an unfortunate loss of lives and criminal vandalism of property. I wish to emphasize that nobody gains from this situation of conflict and insecurity. We have triggered the Otumfo mediation process, which saw all stakeholders participate in discussions in Kumasi on a roadmap towards peace. I'm assured by the Asantehene that the process will resume next week when he returns from his brief visit abroad.
Yaguswa wa Ghana Mampeni, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama nsema odo ene bade tu dwano osanso ede to Ghana de hye nyina nim se yamua na bambofom dwumadi mu edino enkoyie pa sa wote boni bia entranso entamso a ibambofo asotre na mo entuhu anamo.
Ghana man penye ka say mu no en wodi tudwa sa asra dwuma eko ne die adwuma ehye won sa ne nya baako edolson yetimi ma won kwan wo ye dodo na no e de bo my Ghana ye sundwe ene ye bambo enti nsem amanfo bi nam no wokeka sa amanyofo obehwe no wohye bambo adwuma eko ahodu achi na wodi hunhuna amanfo no wose sa ansem no eye hurudo hurada semo a ne kure bia enimu wo so he revenge on tim fodwo no kra ka bi sa ban no e de bambofo ehunhuna no wose nyina no anya ne kure sansa bambofo adwuma de e da ho pefi anya monyoni anasa monyoko ne be kire won.
As citizens of Ghana, we must recognize that the nature of contemporary threats that confront us demand that we do not perceive our security services as the exclusive institutions responsible for our safety and security. The complementary roles of individuals, organizations, and the government in national security is of critical importance. I urge our citizens in discharging this complementary duty of helping to safeguard our security not to behave like the shepherd boy in the famous fable who cried wolf, wolf when there was no wolf. If we behave like that boy either for partisan or parochial interest, we distract the attention of our security services from focusing on their critical job of keeping us safe. Let us support our security services and the Ghana Armed Forces with information that is useful and intelligence that is helpful, that will advance their work rather than retrogress it. Let me reiterate that we will take all allegations of crime seriously and trigger our security service investigative machinery to go after criminals no matter who they are. But let me state emphatically also that we do not have the resources and time to engage in any game of smoke and mirrors every step of the way.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama akensi wose na ban yetu ne ho asi wose eba no eye asrafo ene mpo aban adwumayefo wo mo dada setena mu ene wo adwuma wo yemu a obehwe ama wo masetena mu so etimi aye boko so isanse se do mosi etu wo ho asi wo mu di dwuma no wo mo se akatua pa nti obehwe na wo nsaka.
The distinguished guest, plans for the expansion of the Ghana Armed Forces to ensure increased capacity to counter both internal and external threats were initiated while I was in office in my previous term. During this period, we supervised the acquisition of air, land, and sea assets to equip the armed forces to fulfill their mandate of keeping our nation safe. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in resetting our nation to build the Ghana we want, my government will aggressively pursue the ideas of operational and combat readiness of the Ghana Armed Forces. We will resource the Ghana Armed Forces. This means better equipment, including more simulators, advanced training, and the ability to mobilize swiftly in times of need. You will be equipped to excel in your duties. We shall assess the retooling initiative and facilitate cost-effective outcomes to equip our army to the standards required for a 21st century defense force. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we revel in the significant achievements of our young regular career course 63 graduates who are ready to secure Ghana's peace and sovereignty, we must also reflect on Ghana's illustrious legacy in international peacekeeping. We pride ourselves in our nation's commitment to global peace and security. Indeed, this has not been a recent endeavor. It dates back to the 1960s when, under Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah of blessed memory, Ghana participated in the United Nations peacekeeping force deployed in the Republic of Congo. Today, I pay profound tribute to the Ghanaian military martyrs who made the ultimate sacrifice in the Congo and other places.
Observe kasi we for UTV show and send me bri mo itwa ho aba ye ba ni nyina ye beto aso ama mo. Some Baba UTV Caseboy so yet one some so Adamamo.
Yet one some so also for our share and Wessian some soy honorable Harina Idrus and Asabri. Woman nipa edun so aso afnemo swine so mo ene kwakoye anaso mo kabom aye board e ma get Ghana Education Trust Fund na sabre isa empanyimfo yi wode ato wo mo anim se wo mo dwumadi a wo mo ekwakodie no mo nhye se de be ya eba no enhomasuamu ensem a wo mo enema mo beye nyina ebetimi di empuntuo aba afen so no eba no eye adan a yesisi ewo yenkruase so senke ye de beye yensu yesuku no a asese atete apansam no omofo omani nche na nsiesie entimi emra na sa body wo panyine a wo ye obeda no anase chairman ema sa body honorable Emmanuel Kwesi Bejira no social boss obehwe ama bibie timi akoso ama eba no adesua ho nsem a emu atimi apeja.
Yes, and what was allocated for supervision of the project, we need a review of this board. But ultimately, you should be looking at a situation where members of parliament with your support at least can undertake one project. If we give them 200,000 times 4 years, President Mahama, we have 4 years. My mandate is 4 years. Within the 4 years, if I cannot complete the classroom block, what would you have done in helping me? And having been in the seat as member of parliament, I know what members of parliament go through. And I can share with you that when you hear the public take up that, why are you giving money to members of parliament? Just a month ago, a rural village in my constituency, Bawku, got its roof taken off. I had to rely on my GETFund, even though you haven't released it. My experience as new minister, and again, chairman and members of the board, give this some particular sobering reflection. I got 2 urgent calls. One from headmistress of Laboni Secondary School when a girls' dormitory was ripped off with fire. The second from the honorable member for Tamale North, Nobisco, ripped off with storm drain. Then the other from the honorable member from where Edward Bauer used Bawku. About 7 schools, rain ripped off. I turned and I asked, does the ministry have an emergency budget to respond to this? GETFund, do this for the country. You would have to find a way to make some allocation that will respond to these natural calamities. We don't have control over it, but certainly we would have to live with it.
My fellow board members, management and staff of GETFund, staff from the ministries, ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity on behalf of the GETFund to express our deep appreciation to His Excellency the President, John Dramani Mahama, for the honor and confidence imposed in us to serve the nation in this high office. Indeed, we consider this opportunity not only as a privilege to serve our motherland, but most importantly, as a call to duty. The fund has contributed immensely in exponential terms to this country's educational infrastructure, while supporting thousands of Ghanaians to study with ease without contemplating on how to fund their education using the GETFund scholarship scheme. The gains made by the fund since the establishment, however, experienced a huge setback during the previous administration, where it was capped, as you are aware, thereby rendering its operation ineffective.
Enipa bi a edi nubone ho edwa nubone bi etese tramadol opioid we ene ye heka ho no ene FDA ene Bawku ahodo bi atuom so sa akwachi mu enwotwe ewo tema committee 1 ena fe ashaiman
Enti jumedia edi mu nyina mate say wonim red anasa substances of abuse ye mebunu ne use a more euphoria anasa ye more higher esa affect your lives negatively no ye ni security agencies, narcotics control commission, the police, any pharmacy council, and customs, and a boom na yenya intelligence baby a ye benya sa ni kwan bi wɔ ne adeɛ na kyerɛ sɛ yɛyɛ undercover investigation afei yɛkɔɔ mu a yɛakɔkye suspects na yɛseize products a yɛde aba yi nti products na range from opioids no wonim red no to cannabis and the friend weed no and pharmaceutical products unregistered, tobacco products unregistered, and sexual enhancers near there no baby I call you nyasa money nyina bia e be investigation na bring you nyina to book omo betia fines omo ediom betum so ediom betum de ye officers were regions ni nyina and security forces no so nyina so were representatives inti ye nyina e be ka bom but because of intelligence operations it mean to din da omo beye ba omo go ahoboa so a omo nso beye bi ene ye call tema community 1 ena shaman ye ka che ye mabunu nyina se e ya de a omo betimi age omo ani omo ka omo parties ne ade but wo de wo ho to sa substances ya e kan wadwen e kan won internal organs nyina viral videos na ye hu se nkrofo ya no mu twa hwe no wo betimi akokoma ubetimi aya unconscious ubetimi kra ewu nti ye strong mo ani o ma wofu nyina obi ama nani nko ne ba ho na ye make sure say sa product ya ready ye market no of it na omo nso aha omo mu trading the way ya chi omo ye de omo fi ha ye ko police station ye de bi be court ye start investigation na investigation kra be ma ya chi omo di akire ni nyina nti enya ade a ye one day wonder ne ya ye said ye adwuma no but say we ya frame media say be ya but a lot of strategies go into place your borders no baby a manned no yeah sure say you didn't for beko and also with collaborative efforts and then where it is you were already men there no yeah intensify patrol near the and in transit laws so it's mema products ni be ba na assign are returning into the country no so yes sasa transit laws ni nyina awareness creation ni de yoguso into products ni FDA products nyina e was a tendency of being abused dada even though say here say hospital de be adwuma no say they see adwuma no wa mo ho ban a ubenya what we have on our hands nti ye ko schools nyina ye ni school health education program and yes anhyehyɛ no nti ye ko schools nyina markets your communities as I speak to you and ye meeti Ablikuma West health directorate the whole of May it is the community opinion leaders chiefs healthcare practitioners ye schools we actually have a song your friend Derby campaign ye youth prevention programs no inti ye call and subsequently ye nationwide baby
also for our dankra mantemo ano sabre wa shejumedie biase a wo mu ebubu wo mu masisi adan ede esi bebia enso efa ne afen so no Ramsar site ahodo no enyina ne no ene nam so ma policy advisor for Ghana Chamber of Construction and Industries eye Owura Alfred Kwesi Opoku wodi tu dwase abanya bako wo mutu eye sankofo yi so sabebre na de entie ma mu di hu nkugu wo mantime ni nyina efri se amanyofo binom omo ye mpanyimfo pa na hyehyɛ ase omo de omo agimu na afei so ya no mo sensuro se omanfo beto abade atia omo enunti na omo ntimi entu saafo no so sa
best 4 years ago 5 years ago sabrekra na am ha the na nyina ya one regional ni nya kiche mu kitinkiti kra no na your friend say building inspectors wa ha ye be 29 the whole Accra regional level that be number call round akwakudru ha hunu se yesi da dru ha na sisi ebugo sisi kiche mu yi ye wo ye building inspectors works department wo muntimi nkoma nyina ba bi hokro be kwakudru no na nipa land gas egu ho a wo ba ho no na o life is in danger minim nkra ba bi a building inspectors from assembly akọ I was a derby sinsuom so asubo hwemu ekwan a nsuo fa so komo ama high court kura ka se dan yenkobungu high court ama order se dan yenkobungu esi obe se afini na menko honko hwe dan da so so a be se mfiensia na obi antim nkobungu de every said this no a because high court on dem rada ma assembly se munko nkobu this no na se ma grade ase munko nkobu anya town plan officer no ye man order no ontimi nko To say this no my town plan officer no order say mo anokrasi kwa kubuda no this no na grade akọ town plan and do be kwan so kwa kwakire say that way na sie mumu it a chain of reaction say this no a political head and no normal order is a grade akọ town plan officer de animu ne kwakire ba bia enim say order no ma ya entumi nya hohwe this is a political head say ya frenu fi abankasie mu Jubilee House ya kire dia onka hohwe the town plan officer no answer to the high court order no the amount but what town plan officer no yanka se kokobu untimi mfa nsa bisi no akin kokobu da no enti ya politics amra ye diso ne ya ntimi ni so be wiase man nyina politics se this no crap so ye ne from bankasie mu se jaya anu anso jaya on na mission enti ya politics we free mu nye ye baby da wo bo amobia hunu se nan first ya bank ran ya asession niema bi koso a kire se aha yinsi da wa ha so asession niema bi koso even crash o give by na da nye wall a yentimi mfuru nkosi obi kura ya wall 6 feet obi kura betimi esi akwakira kwakosi da and a continuous monitoring se aha ya nye hwe wa ha se ne se enua kura ne beduadua no bebre ama ha ye kwaye ya hu se wo kache wo wuram ho akọ sidan ya gise obebra ye nuadua na nye kwaye ensuo be fa kwaye na seneta ho a ense hwe eji ansese ye sase no tama no to ho kwa bambo de wubo ye nye so bribi ye nua bribi so that the land will be occupied na akataso awo ye ho hwe nye se wanye ne sade and nipa be ko akwakofa de da.
Na yeremo eko osuafo ahwe nsase ne oboade ne paso onyamfo Emmanuel ama Kofi Ebua obane guso eko adwuma nsra hwe agencies awodo a ehye na se na kopiemu ewo Forest Plantation Development Fund na onempanifo a eda sa bodia no kwakodi nsawso akohe mdwumedi a omu edi anama afoforo mo ede ba ama mdwumedi akrabehwe na afei aban ni suade ho research agenda no so no wometimi edi dwuma.
We started with the one of the institutions. We've done a second one and this is the third one. Now basically what we are doing is to go around to appreciate our agencies and to find out how we could help research those agencies in order that we are able to meet the president's vision. And so here, and they have told us some of their concerns. One of the issues that we are taking home is the fact that they owe seedling producers to the tune of over 4 million. We're also trying to look at what they have in terms of assets. And we're also told that it's around 2 million. So if you do a set off, it means that they owe over 2 million Ghana cedi to seedling producers. We want to set up the board, and then the board will go into the nitty-gritties of these issues so we are able to resolve them and move ahead. We also think that there's a need for us to amend the act and make it a bit established, because for instance,